Your parents talk highly of him, and your parents say that he's really important. And when you're around him, when you're like in his presence, then you got to act a certain way, and you got to act right, the way that he would want you to. But then once you get away from him, then he really has no impact on your life. Kind of this thing that I would do at church that didn't have really impact on my life. I remember, I remember kind of thinking God, and stay with me here, is like a lovely little fairy. And what I mean by that is like you get to class and you take the teacher's like pop quiz. And you're like, ugh. And so you're taking a pop quiz and you know you're doing bad in the class and you're like, God, if you just give me an A on this paper, I will do anything, God. I will do anything. And God's going to be like, yes, my child, and like grant you an A on the paper. Like that's how God works. But like I did that and I still do that sometimes. Or like some of you are like, God, please just let this guy like me. I will do anything if this guy just likes me. God, I'll go to Africa and I'll give my eye touch to the Africans there. And God's like, they don't even have Wi-Fi in Africa. How are you gonna give them an eye touch? It's not even gonna work. But that's what I had. And then the one that I still struggle with, and the one that really kind of drove my understanding of God in middle school was God is the angry school administrator. Now, at y'all school's middle school, right? We're on middle school here. Do you have like the school administrator? Can I just get like a nod? Is there any guy in the back? Cool, says there's a school administrator. Okay, administrator. Well, at J.C. Booth Middle School where I went, there was Mr. Plachet. Mr. Plachet. He was 7'8", 450 pounds, and 8 children for breakfast. That was Mr. Plachet, and he was the school administrator. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it, man. One morning, I'm sitting there. We'd all sit in the gym before school would start. I don't know if y'all do that. Okay, cool. We'd all sit in the morning, and there's Asher and Derek, and they were sitting in front of me. And there was an issue because Asher was dating Derek's ex-girlfriend, and Derek had IM chatted on AOL. Remember, AOL's not around. Facebook is not even thought of yet. It's AOL, right? Derek had chatted Asher's girlfriend after they broke up. And so I'm sitting there, and they're both pretty big dudes. And they're sitting there, and I remember Asher looked at Derek and said, "Why are you talking to my girl, man?" Derek was like, "Because I want to." And I was like, "Oh no." And I saw a look in their eyes, and then Asher, boom, son, right to the face. Derek's down, they're on the ground fighting with each other. I see Mr. Boucher at the other side of the auditorium, and he gets this like light in his eye, and he just zones in on them, and he runs to them in like half a second, just like 50 yards in like half a second, comes in, dives, takes Derek, throws him over there, takes Asher, puts him in cuffs, stomps him, and goes like, boom, got him, son, you know? Like, that was Mr. Boucher. That was Mr. Boucher. And the way that I think about God as Mr. Boucher is that Mr. Boucher was a cool dude. He was a big dude, but he was a cool dude if you followed the rules. And if you followed the rules and did everything right, then Mr. Boucher was cool with you. But if you messed up, or you did something wrong, or you weren't doing something the way that he wanted you to do, then he was mad at you, and that he would jack you up, and that he would beat you. And Mr. Boucher might have killed a kid. I don't know. I don't know what Mr. Boucher did. But all I know is that I viewed God like that. It's this guy that was like, keep the rules and we're good. But if you break the rules, that's just going to tick me off. And then things are going to be really, really bad for you. And so I had all these false views. The grandfather, kind of thinking God was just this, and the lovely fairy thinking that God was just here to grant whatever I wanted. And only when I needed something would I go to God. And then the angry school administrator just thinking that, man, God was just going to be angry. He was going to be angry if I broke the rules. A.W. Tozer, who's a very famous theologian, says, what comes to our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. What comes to our minds when we think about God is the most important thing about us. And he says, because it's going to shape who we are. It's going to shape how we respond to God. It's going to shape how we respond to His commands on our life. And so I think back to all these views, and why did I have these views? And I think it's because I really didn't understand who God was. really doesn't understand the Bible. I mean, can we really say that like we've read through the whole Bible? I mean, I know I haven't. You know, I mean, there's so much of it, gosh, it's just difficult because I kind of pay attention in church and I kind of read parts of the Bible, but man, my views are just messed up. I didn't really understand it, and so because I didn't understand God, that led to a lot of bad things in my life.